Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. We got a Beyond All Reason cast coming y'all's way today. We're going to call this Team Blue on the left-hand side of the screen, and this the red team on the right-hand side of the screen. So that, well, I've got some jokes that are built in later for that. Don't worry, just stay with me for a little bit. Instead of going for Team 1, Team 2, we're going for Team Red and Team Blue. And yes, that rhymes, and I'm well aware of it. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. Starting with the blue team on the southern side of the map, we have Can You Dig It? 84, he's going Armada, as yet undecided what he's going to open. To his north, we have Deliverator. That sounds like Delegator, but we'll see if he's going to be delegating in this game. He's also going for the Armada, and he's going to be going for first bots. To his east, we've got Bake Mono, who's going to be baking up some mono, if you know what I mean. He's going Armada. As yet undecided as what he's going to be going for his first factory, but already got an LLT down, as well as a solar collector. Next, we've got El Barto, who is going Armada. Lots of Armada in this game. And he's going first bots, pretty typical. First bots for Flash, who's also going Armada in the most front. We could call that the pitbull position, as one of my good buddies likes to call it. Next, we've got Dudeliness, who is going Armada as well. And we might just have everybody going Armada. We have STFU, which stands for something that is a not nice thing to say, and I'm not going to say it. Sips, who is going for first bots, also going Armada. And then we've got Resop Monk, who is actually breaking the mold here and going for Cortex on the far northern side of the map. Shifting over to the red team, we have S. Tygo, who's going Armada, actually going for first boats, because he lacks boats. To his east, we've got Bus Driver, seen him before. He's going Armada, opening first bots. Next, we've got Talons, who is going Armada, opening first bots. To the south, we've got Alice. And after my last cast, a lot of you guys had good suggestions for their name. I think Willow's name wins. We can call the Malice of Alice. He's actually going bots, or she's actually going bots, and is playing Cortex. Next, we've got Master Bells in the middle, the pitbull position, going first bots as the Armada. To the south, we have Agape going Cortex, opening for the first bots. Everybody seems to like bots, and on this map, how can you blame them? There's a good amount of terrain, there's water that you got to get across, vehicles are going to have a little bit more of a difficult time. To the south, we've got Cobalt, who's going Armada, opening first bots. And last but definitely not least, on his way to the middle, we've got Tiger J, who's going Armada. So we got some initial skirmishes going down in the center position. I usually like to cast standing. I do have a sit-to-stand desk for work. And I've got my casting streaming set up there. But I had a really big ride today. And a really big ride for me is like 8 to 10 miles. And I did like 9. So that's a big mountain bike ride for me. I know that might be trivial to some of you guys, but that's pretty big for me. So we'll see if I stay standing this entire time. As Flash and Master Bells tangle here in the middle with some initial T1. We've got a couple of Roccos, or actually the Rocketeers now, against a couple of AKs. The Axe definitely going to be able to out-micro the Rocketeers. Some Rocketeers and a pawn from Master Bells. Come in, clean things up. Flash's commander, though. Nice D-gun there. Drops a thug, that's right, down off of the screen. And super huge shout out to y'all for telling me how to remove markings on the map, because there's going to be a lot of them in this game. I want to make sure that I'm able to keep the map relatively clear. Because we got Hover Spam versus, or I believe these are Hover Spam. Nope, these are actually Corvettes. Versus S-Tygo in the water there. S-Tygo able to scramble a Corvette. These are actually like gunboats. This is a Corvette. To kind of shoo those away in conjunction with his comm. Resop Mock playing very aggressively here. Does have an assault frigate in the back, ready to support. And we've also got a sub out there from S. Tygo. Way back in the day, I used to listen to a rapper called Tyga. I wonder if S. Tygo is actually Tyga in real life. He's going to be looking for some Molly. That doesn't get me demonetized. I feel like I should have gotten demonetized on so many different videos here. In the middle, we've got Flash fending for his life up against the Rocketeers there from Master Bells. Does have some T1 units in support, but the Thugs as well as the Rocketeers from Bus Driver as well as Agape supporting Master Bells there in the middle. Bus Driver also bringing his commander out there. Gonna cause some issues there for Flash as well as Doodliness there in the middle. And I'm really surprised Agape is getting into the thick of things so quickly. Those of you guys may not know, but Agape is one of the Greek words for unconditional love. And he is not exhibiting some unconditional love here. He's exhibiting some, I'm blanking on a word, unscrupulous, indeterminate malice. We'll go with that. Taking a book out of Alice's book up there, Teammates of the North, showing some of the malice of Alice and the unconditional love of the brethren there. You have a couple of gunships up over the top. There is AA in the vicinity to support. Nice defender. Nettle, sorry. Drop down there for Master Bells. This map, a pretty classic map. I've seen renditions of this on FAF, renditions of this on 0K as well. I'm not sure if this was originally in Total Annihilation or if this is a port from FAF or 0K, because whenever I played Total Annihilation I was 6, so I only liked to play the maps with unlimited metal, because who has time for reclaim? I believe there are those maps with unlimited metal here in Bar, so if that tickles your fancy, just building huge batteries of plasma artillery and long-range artillery and just beating your opponent into oblivion, then hey, we got everything here. Bar can get pretty crazy. It skirts with the fringes of reason. Might even get a little bit beyond that reason. You never know. You never know. I tell all my friends I just need a kid to make my dad jokes better, and then I can feel better about them for myself as well. The middle, though, Master Bell is making some pretty good progress. Has secured a lot of the middle portion, including these two geothermal sites. Those are pretty risky to drop power generators there, though. Might be a good idea to drop some of the geothermal-powered plasma artillery. Get some good control over both the ocean to the north as well as this kind of peninsula island to the south that actually Bake Mono and Can You Dig It have taken control of in the early portions of this game. Dropped a nice little wall of LLTs here, and that's going to make it pretty difficult for Cobalt and company to gain control of, especially if he lets his axe just kind of take unnecessary fire or grunts. I keep going back to the old Total Annihilation naming convention. I'll get myself out of it eventually. As our first comm goes down, I believe that was actually Bus Driver's commander. Or no, Tygo's commander. That's Tygo. Bus Driver's up here. Tygo is down here in the lower position, bringing our comm score down 8-6. I'll keep this at the same setting if you guys want to reference this, but the green number is going to be Team Blue, and the red number is going to be the red team. Which kind of makes sense, because green is made out of blue, and red is, well, you know, red. It's a primary color. Don't know what else to say about that. So right now, Master Bells and Bus Driver are just kind of chilling here in the middle. And, you know, I'll bet you they're looking over here at Team Blue. And Master Bells is saying to Bus Driver, what do you think they're doing? And Bus Driver's getting really pissed off, right? He's like, they're doing the same thing that they're always doing. They're just talking. Every time you ask me, all they're doing is just talking. And then Master Bells is going to look at Bus Driver and go, well, what are they talking about? And I'm pretty sure that's how the conversation between these two guys is going to go. As the game continues on and on. I'm dropping Easter eggs throughout this video. That was one of them. I've gotten away from that a little bit, but I've dropped some. I'm going to drop some in this video. Hopefully you guys will appreciate it, as we've got huge amounts of pings coming out, signaling the incursion of Rezat Mach in that northern pond. Everybody playing a little bit passive right now. I mean, I don't know if I could blame him because, you know, can you dig it? Sitting over here and he's looking at Tiger. And Tiger's a pretty intimidating foe. Can you dig it's like, yo, we dealt with those tigers in the Battle of the Bulge. We was assaulted by them tigers. I tell you we was assaulted? Well, I mean assaulted. Up at the northern spot, though, there's no tiger. There's just a bus driver up here. A bus driver that has no commander in his base. And that is going to be proper opportunity for, I believe, Deliberator there, who is actually not delegating. Making good use of his pawns, taking out some of the power grid there. This is one thing that you can see is kind of a difference between Bar and Faf. I know a lot of my audience are Faf players, but buildings go down real fast in Bar. You gotta be on your toes. And Bus Driver actually evacuating his comm, making his way back up to the north, leaving the middle to the Malice of Alice as well as Master Bell. Master Bell has set up an initial defensive line here. Some of the upgraded laser turrets. The beamers. He's got a good amount of T1 there in support as well. Some thugs. We're seeing some pings to move units out as Cobalt actually in trouble here. Found himself on the wrong side of a bunch of Centurions. He might be able to make it out though. These Rocketeers kind of screening for him. It's a fight that Rocketeers shouldn't win, but I think the Centurions were a little bit distracted. We're starting to get some air production out for both players, for both teams, and now we're getting a bombing raid up against that heavy laser tower there in the middle, that Overwatch. Therefore, Bake Mono. But the bombers in conjunction with the Rocketeers should be enough to dislodge this position. We're actually seeing walls surrounding these laser towers. I'm not sure if that makes a huge difference. It does seem to be insulating some of the damage there. It might be making a little bit of a difference, although Bakemono might be somebody coming over from FAF where that is much more of a thing, and that's where Cobalt actually goes down. So now we're dropping 8 to 5. We lost another commander somewhere along the way. I'm not sure which one we lost. But Bus Driver might be next on this list here. Does have a squadron of hounds brought in from Agape as support. The hounds will do well against the thuds. This little D-gun, but misses a couple of them. And Bus Driver now going to go down. And Rezatmach escaping with the skin of his teeth there. Doodling is bringing his commander in really close. And oh, man. Okay. Airlifting your commander, risky. Airlifting it in bar next to fighters, suicidal. And that's going to bring us down to 6 to 4. Those are the first two comm ejections there for the red team. And the blue team sitting up there at 6 commanders to 4. So the blue team's still sitting in a pretty healthy position. Not to mention their map control. Master Bell has kind of gotten this center little segment here, but we've got Rezatmach up the north, has good control over the Navy, and in the south we've got Bake Mono and Can You Dig It? Holding on to the southern kind of peninsula island, so to speak. Well, and I say that, and there is a little bit of an incursion here. There's a heavy laser tower to be able to blunt that. Grunts need to make a quick evac out of there, though, which they're not going to do, and they're just going to get lasered down. This thing's slow down here a little bit. 14 minutes into the game. This is going to be a long one, guys, so strap in. That's why I said I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to stay standing for the entire part of it. But I like to stand. It makes me sound more excited And I am excited. And I want you guys to be excited. I don't know why I want y'all to be excited, but I don't know. Makes me feel better. Thinking that you guys are going to be excited. Large migration there of some low-level T1 spam from the Dudeliness himself. Drawing exactly where he's going to go. So he's going to go this way. He's going to go that way. He's going to go that way. He's going to go in. Go ahead and erase some of that off of the screen there. He's going to go that way. So the blue team, realizing that they need to make something happen with the kind of envelope that they have here on the, as far as the 3 theaters go. If you think of this as like, you know, kind of island and then causeway and bay. That's what we'll call them. That's a good name. Those are good names. Good job, Duelist. The causeway is kind of the only avenue where they're really weak on or have not gained control of, and so Deadliness looking to pressure Tiger J down here at the bottom part of the map. And Tiger does not have a whole lot in the way to stop him here. He's got an LLT that's going to go down relatively quickly, and then a few Rocketeers, the occasional pawn coming off the line as well, but nothing that's going to stop firepower of this magnitude. Doodly just needs to go in and commit, though. Might just commit onto Tiger the Calm himself. Watch, even Labs can do significant amount of damage to commanders, and Fiends coming in from Alice actually not really helping the issue, causing more damage to the Calm than I think they saved him from. Friendly fire is a thing, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be Tiger going out of the game. You see all of his power generators doing their whole little zipper maneuver, but Tiger's not out of the game yet, even though he's lost almost his entire base. He does still have these 2 construction bots. That means he can get back into it. Just needs a factory. Needs to start producing again. His teammates are going to have to cover his ass a little bit. In the middle, though, push coming out from Flash as well as El Barto, I believe. Push is going to be met with firm resistance from thugs as well as hounds. You have the odd Sabo battery set up as well. This little rocket barrage in the point defense game. And red team kind of realizing here that they're in trouble in the bottom position, as there is some rather cordial communication that is going on between the red team players, and they're not faring too much better in the north either, as there is T2 now on the field. Appear to be T-Lons or Talons. Commander moving into actually rebuilding moho mines on, or advanced metal extractors for just the bus driver. Now we are starting to see some geothermal plasma, or geothermal power plants getting dropped in here, utilizing some of the more natural resources. But we do have Persecutor artilleries that are now setting up, shelling Can You Dig It down at the bottom. Might have been a good idea to turn this into a geothermal plasma battery instead. Would have gotten potentially better range. Though it might not be needed, as a whole battalion of Fiends come storming through the middle there, supported by a few Centurions out there from Kobold. The Fiend's actually breaking off here, going after Can You Dig It's commander. Gonna be of a whole lot of, not gonna be super effective though with the point defense in the realm. Well, we do have a little bit of a, well, I was about to go into something, but nope, not going to go into it now, as the Fiends are now pushing in once again from the south. Friendly fire is acceptable whenever you're wielding a flamethrower. Although they will give better than they're getting, it would appear. Sort of. Metal extractor's now coming under threat. That was an advanced metal extractor that went down as well. Pop-up Gauss cannon should be able to handle the last one though, maybe? Yep, there we go. So team blue still maintaining a semblance of a hold over here on the southern island. What really is rock solid though is Resident Mock's control over the northern ocean. I got a cruise missile ship out. This music picks up. I love it. Music picking up. Yeah, while things are a little bit slow, I do want to take a second and thank everybody who really knows this game really well for bearing with me as I'm learning this game. It is a game that I'm learning. I love casting it. It's super fun to watch. But I really appreciate y'all bearing with me as I'm growing throughout this game. I'm spending a lot more time playing it as well. I did a couple 1v1s this week. They were a lot of fun. Whenever I have time. I kept waiting for this artillery shot to hit the bottom. It would appear that cruise missile ships are similar to the cruisers in FAF with tactical missiles, kind of more long range efficacy, less ship to ship or direct fire combat. Should be perfect for shelling this middle position, although they are under threat from a series of amphibious bots coming out from Talons there. Saying we need to do something about C. I think everybody agrees with you, bud. And he's going that way, guys. We do have bombers that are circulating there for Resident Mock. I believe those are EMP bombers, able to freeze a good amount of them in place, let the Navy get in, deal with the lion's share of them. 2 did make it through, though. Be able to freeze the rest of those bad boys in place. We do have a couple of infantry bots coming in to wrap up the rest of it. We're going to see some really cool EMP stuff later in the game. So I hope you guys are jazzed. Hope you guys stick around for that. So we've now got Fat Boys actually pushing in on the middle. So that's the first T3 I think we've seen in the game so far. Fat Boys are kind of the continued evolution of the Hound or the Sheldon on the Cortex side. We do have a couple of Hounds there in assistance. We'll see how much damage these Fat Boys can get done. Need to be microed a little bit better. They're taking a lot of fire, and here comes kind of the distraction force. Distraction! So we've got pawns as well as, well, it looks like we were going to have some stouts moving in as well, but looks like just the pawns are going to get sacrificed to the hounds. Throw them to the hounds. Actually, the pawn's doing okay. It looks like we're going to take out a couple of the hounds. Only 1 left. 2 left, actually. 1 badly damaged. This pop-up rocket artillery actually doing some pretty good work here. Fortunately, they're shooting at the same thing. Now the Fat Boys coming back into range once again to be met with barrage of rockets and plasma artillery fire. It's gonna be one of the Fat Boys going down, actually. Not super happy about that. There for El Barto. He's got himself set up here. Pretty sure Fat Boys are T3. Are they T3? Yeah, they're T3. I'm almost positive, but I'm not seeing an experimental gantry yet. So maybe they're not T3. Maybe they are T2. Like I said, thank you for bearing with me. Good artillery bots, though, nonetheless. We got 25 minutes into the game, and it looks like a bus driver has now resorted to large-scale amphibious bots, as well as some hover tanks, to gain himself a control back in the water again. Several assault frigates, as well as a couple of destroyers there, holding things together for Rezat Mach. It's going to force bus driver to retreat. Okay, and here we got a geothermal plasma battery that's going down there for Master Bell. I would still argue that you should put that on both sides, but maybe he needs the energy from geothermal plasma power plant. Energy, of course, very valuable in this game. It's valuable in all games, but in this game it's super valuable just because of how many mass fabricators you're going to see, or energy converters you're going to see set up. We've got Master Bell dropping advanced energy converters now. Got a whole little network of the basic ones, and you see those all over the place. Used a lot more in this game than they are in FAF. So I did put up a video wondering why that was, and making a case for why they should be used a little bit better. The video received mixed reviews, to say the least. They do have advanced shipyard out, though, for Rezat Mach. As well as air tangling over some anti-air batteries there in the ocean. They're going to bag themselves a handful of bombers, but probably not worth it to sacrifice your entire air force. Amphibious bots once again met with the wonder that is EMP bombs. Does look like they have some limited anti-air capabilities, though. By limited, I mean relatively effective. Are these just the amphibious bots? Yep, those are just the amphibious bots. As now Rezat Mach is in trouble here with his navy. Potentially in trouble. He could be fine. Yeah, he's fine. He's going to lose a lot of his tidal generators, but he's in a relatively good position. Just have this nice little floating heavy laser tower. That was great, bringing in his boats as well. But the amphibious bots now coming in, and that is going to be threatening STFU Sips, his commander. A couple gunships are deployed to respond. Could actually just go for STFU here, though. Decides to go for the eco options instead. Maybe bringing down a lot of those wind generators. Got a fusion power plant in their sights as well. That fusion reactor, though, is going to go for a big boom, and okay, not going to be able to kill everything, but is going to be able to kill some of it. And if the comm doesn't kill it, then standing right next to that energy storage, whenever it blows up, will kill a good number of them as well. Still getting a good amount of value here. As Rezat Mach actually bows out of the game here. Seems a little bit unhappy that he ended up losing his boats, his navy, his pride and joy. I wonder if Rezat Mach is British. I would add up historically. Or Spanish. Spain was always very proud of their navy in the colonial periods as well. Taking a sip of water. Throat gets dry whenever I talk so much. That being said, though, that leaves his doodliness control of the water. You have an aircraft carrier with an anti-nuke. That is so cool. How many of you FAF players want to have an anti-nuke on a boat. How many of y'all have lost tons of boats to nuclear point defense? But quite a few of you, myself included. That's super cool. Unfortunately, though, it would appear that there is a atomic bomber out from Bus Driver, who has now relegated himself to the air player. Takes out a good number of ships there for his doodliness, and now is busy taking out STFU SIPs. That air factory is going to go down. Bomber going to take out the fusion reactor as well. Unfortunately, that's about all it's going to get. But good little run. There is still a fusion reactor here up for SIPs. So he's not totally power locked yet. And talking about eco here for a second, it would appear that Team 2, even though they had kind of been on the back foot for a long time territory-wise, are starting to pull ahead in the eco game. Hovering at about 50 metal per second acquired up from team number 1. It's not going to stop team 1 though from making a pretty big push down here in the middle. So we've got a lot of good team communication here. Skirmisher bots as well as hounds leading the charge. That is going to take out Master Bell's position there in the middle. Master Bell's actually playing fast and loose with his comm up here. I think that comm is already dead. Should, actually that geothermal battery is doing incredible amounts of work, but I don't think it's going to be enough to save Master Bell's commander. Bell is actually, I think, going for a comm bomb here, trying to take as many units as he can with him. Does activate cloaking. Now, looks like cloaking failed there at the very last second. So that's going to bring us down to 2 commanders to 5. So good numbers of commanders still left for Team Red. Looks like, or actually Team Blue. Somehow we got switched in here. So this is now, that's now Team Blue. So Team Blue is the red counter, and Team Red is down to 2 commanders, that being Talons as well as Alice. The Malice of Alice is still reigning supreme. It's here in the middle. Got some nice little sniper bot action. Hey, got a name right. As Willow said, this is just a mini game of me guessing unit names. Getting better though. Gunships coming in to try to shoo this little T2 force away. Could use some Archangels in this mix for sure. Looks like the basic strategy of just taking your gun and pointing it upward is working relatively well. There for the skirmishers. Until they get focused on and just absolutely eviscerated. See if we can get some Archangels or some mobile AA support coming in from either El Bardo or his doodliness. Because right now the gunship coverage is pretty dense here in the middle. And El Bardo actually dropping down a bunch of nettles to get at least some AA coverage. Those are only T1 though, but T1 air units are pretty fragile, so do fall relatively quickly as the gunships shift their attention to the south now. Trying to focus down the AA where they can. Most of those gunships though going to go down without causing any huge amount of damage. Just not great to see. There for Team Red. This Team Red now have lost control of the middle position, but they seem to have started gaining control of the bay. So lost the causeway, but now are fighting relatively well now for the bay. I say that as a huge squad of hover tanks, or not huge, but a squad of hover tanks coming across from SIPs begins to cause some issues. We're starting to see some shielding come up there for T-Lons on the bay. some bombers in over the top, try and take out some of these units. A couple of heavy laser towers, though, are going to be able to blunt that attack in conjunction with the pop-up Goth battery in the back there for Bus Driver. And Team Red able to maintain a presence in the northern pond, but the causeway is once again a cause of concern here, as we have a whole battalion of Sheldons here for Master Bell. Now we are seeing Razor battle mechs on the scene. These are T3 units, and they do pack a punch. Sheldons, though, fighting back for what they're worth. Actually able to bag one of the battle mechs, but another one is on the way. Fresh off the line there. I believe those are coming out of Deliberator, or... Nope, these are actually coming out of Dudeliness. That experimental gantry setup. And didn't waste any time on putting together that geothermal plasma battery. You can see what kind of reach it has to cause problems on the causeway for units that are advancing and cause problems in the bay. This little triple fire causing problems for Fat Boys, as well as even some of the faster moving bots. Like to see the dual prong attack, though, and get the Cerberus up on the other side as well. I think be a good idea, as we've started to see huge amounts of fortifications actually coming down from Agape down in the southern border. So really wants to make sure that this is an impenetrable wall as much as he can. Now it's turned a little bit into a standoff here in the middle. Cerberus now firing on the boats there for Bus Driver or S-Tygo. I believe that's still S-Tygo. S-Tygo not out of the game yet. He does have himself a nice little base up here. It's blending in nicely with the very similar yellow color there for Alice, but this is S-Tygo's base. And Tygo is still very much a factor in this game. Now Team Red need to figure out how to break this new fire base that has popped up on their causeway. But looking at Eco here, the story's changed a lot over the last 10 minutes or so since we last checked in. We got Red Team heavily outpacing the Blue Team now in terms of Eco. That is going to be a huge problem for the Blue Team, as they do have a larger portion of map control, but they don't really seem to be doing anything with it. Or at least doing the right things with it. From an eco standpoint, at least, with the red team netting almost double the eco here in the later portions of the game, where earlier on, blue team had a relatively good lead in terms of eco. And that might be because of Resup Mox bowing out of the game, as he was one of the better players there for the red team, or blue team. But blue team not giving up the ghost yet. 3 battle mechs here on approach. EMP coverage as well, shutting down the capabilities of a lot of these Shivas. Amphibious battle mechs up on the front. But as soon as these guys get into this open area, there's just a withering amount of fire coming in from the Sheldons, as well as this Tachyon accelerator. And it looks like the blue team is not going to be able to get any significant amount of penetration, as the Sheldons and the Shivas able to clean up there. You have a couple more Razorbacks coming in, but might need to just call those off, because we've got large amounts of EMP air cover now coming in from Master Bell. Might be worth calling those battle mechs back. living to fight another day there instead of feeding more reclaim into your opponent. We do have the heavy long-range missile launchers as well, the catapults. Offering a similar amount of fire to the Cerberus there in the middle of the causeway. Trying to keep things relatively suppressed. But blue team seeming content right now to just run very cheap units in as distractions. We do have our first Vanguard, the all-terrain heavy plasma bot. Kind of the creme de la creme whenever it comes to kind of your artillery bot, so to speak. We've seen in a cast how awesome one of those can be, and we've actually got a Basilica down here, the long-range cannon, coming out from Bake Mono. So trying to offer a little bit of fire support up here to the top. And then shifting his attention down here to take out this fat boy down here. But still just a huge standoff here in the southern side of the map. With now shielding going down, the plasma deflectors. And I believe, if I remember correctly, these shields function a little bit differently. They don't actually block everything. I think they block plasma and they block energy weapons, but I don't think they block rockets, if I'm remembering correctly. So your old school kind of kinetic ordnance can still, I believe, pass through the shield generators. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I think I remember reading that in the unit database that I've tried to study. Clear off all these markings from the screen here. We're starting to get some long-range artillery getting dropped up for Talons up at the top. As blue team now struggling to hang on to the middle with the advance of the Vanguards, Razorbacks, Shivas. And that is going to be blue team running tail tucked between their legs. So I believe a nuke went off down here, took out a good number of units. Either that or something that was volatile exploded. See if the Razorbacks are up to the task here. We also have Mammoths now in the, or Thors, sorry, Thors, not Mammoths, in the vicinity for Bus Driver, actually. Bringing those in from the north. There's a lot of Razorbacks, though. Now we're starting to see EMP missiles, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. What's so cool. We've got a whole network of paralyzers getting built here by, I believe that's Bell. We'll see what kind of damage they can do here in a second, but I wanted to bring it on y'all's radar right now as we're continuing on with the game. We're seeing some nuking or some EMP tactical missiles there from the blue team. I gotta say though, the red team seemingly operating relatively well without their Sarge, even though the Sarge has abandoned the red team. As the war continues to wage on the causeway. What I would really like to see, I think at this point, is I'd love to see for the red team, I think, to get back into the water. I think that we've had some time here to kind of stabilize things on the causeway. I think it's a good time for the red team to get back in the water here. Start pushing out some boats, because they lack boats. Eco gap, though, continuing to widen. We're seeing, whoa, spiking up to 5.5k there for a second, but hovering around that 1k mark while The blue team sitting around 600. I think that's going to tell the story here for the rest of the game, but we'll see how it plays out. Trying to coordinate a little bit here, get an attack going on the south side. I think that might be the right call. Can you dig it and bake mono? Been pretty quiet here on the southern side of the map, really just building up fortifications. A couple of vanguards coming out from them could go a long way in breaking this line. Although that line is relatively impenetrable, as the poor Lazarus bots are getting viciously murdered as they are on their reclaim missions. Red team now taking control back, though. Vanguard's now hanging off of a cliff. These things really are spiders. Spiders hanging from a wall. And now the rubber band seems to be swinging back the other way. So red team seems to have lost interest in the causeway for the time being. And now blue team is committing a good amount of T3 units there in the middle. So we got a couple of fat boys that are actually T2. I'm actually seeing these little ticks under them. I'm thinking that those two ticks mean that they're T2, which is helpful for casting. Thank you. Yep, see the Razorback? Razorback has 3. These have 2. They're T2. I figured it out, guys. I have cracked the code. Look at me. All hail the duelist. That's right. As this is going to be a problem now for this defensive line. We got a Juggernaut inbound from Agape. And that is the cool thing that I wanted to show y'all. Is this like network of EMP launchers just shutting down all the defenses on this line for this Juggernaut to push in. Let's turn their front line off. That's pretty much what's happening here. See another little missile coming in there for good measure. Looking for another whole little network of EMPs to come in, although Juggernaut seems to be faring relatively well without them. Is going to drop back though. There's a Razor there for support as well. Not very nice of Kobold. Bringing some help his buddy. Juggernaut's on pretty low HP though. It might be a good idea to bring that boy back and recover. And now we're seeing what I was hoping to see from the red team here. We've got mass. So this is actually hover spam. These are the heavy hover tanks, the lunkheads, which is what I'm sure a lot of y'all call me down in the comments below. But it's okay. I'm not judging. I'm a lunkhead. I'm proud. As long as it means I get to do this, which is absolutely just tear apart the defenses on the beach here for the blue team. Do have some anti-air in the vicinity as well, which is going to be helpful against these gunships that are now popping up. Lunkheads do need to turn themselves around and head inward. Sip's actually getting pretty bold with his commander. Might be going for a comm bomb here. They do have 5 comms to work with. But he's going to take way too much damage too quickly. And that's going to drop blue team down to 4 commanders, red team down to 2 commanders. As the rubber band now going back the other way again with the blue team taking control of the causeway. And the red team now taking control of the ocean. These lunkheads causing huge amounts of problems for SIP's primary base here. There's a lot of AA in the vicinity as well, so air going to be marginally effective. is lower level AA, so it is possible, and there are some razors here to help blunt the assault a little bit. One razor go down, a second one nearing the bottom of its health, but we got two more that pop up in the nick of time. They should be able to deal with this, although they seem more focused on dealing with the anti-air that is coming in and not the heavy tanks that are decimating all of SIP's base right now. As we do have a razor now getting tasked to deal with the lunkheads. And in the middle here, we do have another juggernaut. As Master Bell decides to just turn the army off. Bringing in his juggernaut to now take out the poor defenseless construction bots as well as resource reclaim bots. That is going to be the red team now retaking control of the causeway. On the bright side, though, they did clean up this little incursion, so that was helpful. Down at the bottom, though, they still got to deal with this looks like a newly minted juggernaut or a freshly repaired one coming in, and Master Bell's gonna turn off all the defenses again. That's very memeable. It's really funny. I think that they're referring to a YouTuber that I actually watch called TheDuelist. Up here, that's funny. I'm also reading player chat at the same time. These two juggernauts, though, doing good amounts of damage here on the front lines. We do have a lot of lightning turrets there on the front. Some plasma artillery providing overwatch, but all that's going to change as soon as Master Bell decides to turn everything off again. Which is just like hilarious to me. Some might call that broken. I call it utility. Okay, and apparently juggernauts go thermonuclear whenever they explode. Juggernaut on the south, dipping into the red here against all the various defenses. See when the next volley of EMP missiles is coming in. Here it comes. And goodbye. I'm kind of surprised that the Juggernaut actually has been struggling with this a little bit more than I think it should have been, as we actually do have a Titan coming in from that's coming in from Can You Dig It? Who's now up to T3 with got his own experimental gantry rocking and rolling. Got a lot of these construction turrets in assistance. So we've had hover in the north, but now it looks like we're getting some proper Navy coming in here from bus driver. As there is a Titan that is moving in now through the water there for Estigo. And we do have another Titan already staged for an assault. Team Blue hanging on for all they're worth, but looking at this eco, it's gonna be a hard nut to crack. Storm of rockets come in from the catapults up on the causeway. It sounds like I'm narrating a Lord of the Rings movie now. Except the catapults were actually in the fields of Pelennor, and then you had the really ugly orc woman yelling, "Catapults!" And then the dude with half his face gone dodges out of the way of a piece of the city, because that's what Gondor decided to do, was throw pieces of their city back at them. But, you know, I guess, hey, you know, if it's busted and you can throw it at somebody, might as well use it. Juggernaut again in the middle, this time coming in from the Malice of Alice. And we do have what appears to be a freshly minted Juggernaut, along with a Titan, and there is a Razorback as well from Kobold. I never actually knew how to pronounce that. But either way, the Titan here is going to be outmatched, as it takes a artillery shell to the face, as well as a couple of lasers and rockets, and now we have another EMP barrage coming in as well. And that just kind of opens the door now for these three Tech 3 units to just walk their little selves right on in. This is beginning to look untenable here for team number 1. That'll never get old. That is just the funniest thing ever to me. I'm sure it wouldn't be very funny if I was on the receiving end of it. I'm sure I will be now at some point, now that I've posted this video, and now a lot of people are going to know about this tactic, or hopefully a lot of people know about this tactic. El Barto on the front lines with his commander, battalion of Razorbacks, standing guard on the last choke points of the causeway, standing up against impossible odds. His 3 Titans make landfall on the low ground. El Barto standing up here saying, I have the high ground. Unfortunately, I think that the people on the low ground are going to win this time. Although, I don't know. Taking a good amount of damage now from the Gauss cannons, as well as the energy point defense that are in defense here. But nope. Oh! Beautiful D-gun work. El Barto did, in fact, have the high ground. So let it be written, so let it be known. Okay, now we've got some pretty serious ship reduction here. We've got an epic. Best way to explain this to the FAF players is it's like a summit that fires fast. Thing is like a rapid-fire battleship. Very powerful. Luckily, it seems like the walls of this causeway are providing some moderate protection. El Barto, though, with his commander, not in a great spot. You're in a war zone there, my friend. I don't know if the high ground is going to work out for you as well this time. And the Great Wall of Team Blue has now been... Oh, that might have been a nuke there. I haven't seen a nuke out yet from Team Blue that I've seen so far. I believe these are all fusion power plants. Those are definitely strategic bombers, though. Taking out a large portion of Bake Mono's infrastructure. Lots of assistance on the Advanced Bot Lab as well. But can you dig it? Walking out here to see if he can offer his digits to these juggernauts in exchange for them not killing him. And they said no. They said no, they were not interested in digits. That leaves El Barto, Bake Mono, And Deliberator as the 3 comms that are left in the game there for Team Blue. But the news seems to be tightening here with the arrival of this epic on the scene down in the northern bay area, so to speak. Property prices have gone up quite a bit with the arrival of the Navy here. You might say it's taking a page out of the San Francisco Bay Area's playbook. And I can't say property values down here next to the lakes are doing super well either. Although here it's a different problem. You've got a bunch of, 100-foot tall robots marching in on you. The Juggernauts are actually backing off here. Not quite sure why. As the whole power grid there for Bake Mono just goes up in flames. Juggernauts closing in from the middle. Juggernauts closing in from the bottom. They've come in to say, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch! Might be the corniest one I've made so far. I don't know, though. I've made some pretty bad jokes in this cast. You're welcome. You're welcome! But now we've got Agape spreading unconditional love down here. Actually, not even sure if that's how you spell Agape. As GGs are thrown, Team Blue loses to Team Red. I believe our last commander here is actually a player that's not playing. It would be Deliberator. I love the domino effect there for buildings. But as the game closes out here, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Also, if you guys have any VAR replays that you guys want me to take a look at, either send me the replay to the entry online or send me the actual SFDZ file itself. I would love to take a look at any replays that you guys have up for me. With that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.